listen, never in my life associated the word boring with baseball.
We know what's up.
Me? Yeah. Famous? Yeah.
And I'm like giddy over there smiling like, we're about to win this shit.
Did everyone give you crap? Give me a good host story.
I'm not picking it up.
We both love the game.
We talk about it every day.
Getting on baseball.
Having some popcorn, you're fooling around your phone.
I'd have to wait in line for 3 hours.
Hang on, because it's about to be a wild ride.
All right, there's no one on the planet I'd rather be talking to right now than Joe Castiglione.
That's because I know baseball is not boring.
You do. You're the one, you basically, along with Joe Kelly, are the two people who have the straws and stir the drink when it comes to the show. Joe, I just want to start off by, saying how honored I am to be part of your life in any way I am, and see how your excellence throughout the years. And I know that a lot of people are saying that, but all I can say is where I'm coming from. And as you go into the Hall of Fame, there's a lot of things I want to say, Joe, but just let me know. Just know I appreciate you.
Well, thank you so much, Rob. I've been a great friend, and I've learned a lot. You always get your nose right and your pulse right on what's happening, and you're in the speech.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So we talked about the speech. It was first day of spring training, which I felt honored. Where it was the first I was part of the first broadcast you did as an elected Hall of Famer ever.
Yeah, you pointed that out. I didn't realize it, but
yeah,
yes, you were with me, right?
Well, I'm honored in so many ways. But we talked even then. You were working on the speech. But so you sort of, I think at that time you said, I got it to 12 minutes, it has to be 10. And last I checked in, you're like, I'm just going to go 13.
Yeah, that's about right. I sent it in today because they printed it. They printed in big font, so I don't have to wear my cheaters.
Oh,
and
really?
It makes it a lot easier to follow. So I'm anxious to see that. And we'll have a couple of rehearsals, I think, because we're getting there next Wednesday, and the event is Saturday afternoon. But it's a big thank you, basically. A lot of people to thank, people I work for, people I work with, people who helped me get started, and to keep me going, partners and others behind the scenes as well. And, when you last that long, a lot of people help you. And I've had many blessings and many
it's tough
great
to get
friends.
13 minutes, yeah. But as we get closer here, has it hit different? Like, it's obviously we know the great story about you hanging up on them when you got the call and everything else. But
that's in there.
Yeah, it's a great story. But it's one thing we talking, and now you're on the verge. Is it hitting different?
I think it is. I read the speech today. It was a little more emotional than
really?
I was when I was putting it together, because certain people trigger reactions when you mention them. Especially people who are no longer with us, like Johnny Pesky and Lou Gorman and Ken Coleman and Bob Starr. But I got a call from Pat Hughes, the voice of the Chicago Cubs, who was last year's winner. And he gave me some advice about the speech. He said, for one thing, you're not going to be able to see the audience because of the way the lights are set up.
Oh,
he
interesting.
Said he could barely make out his wife. I said, well, that must help you keep the emotions in check, right? And he agreed. So we'll have to practice that before.
Did he go 13
happens.
Minutes? What did he say?
He said he went 15.
Oh, come on. Yeah. But it's like it's starting to.
Yeah.
It's starting to. You obviously, you're gassing up the tank and you're ready to go.
Yeah, and they called me last week, Josh Roberts, the president of the Hall of Fame, and asked if I would moderate a discussion with Pedro Martinez and David Ortiz about 2004,
Really?
the 20th anniversary, after my speech. And I said, of course, I'd be happy to do that. It's not a difficult assignment with those two.
Yeah. Jeez, it's what a few days. What a time. But I know that you've probably been asked this before, Joe. Maybe I've asked you, but when did the Hall of Fame sort of get on your radar? Like, when you're young, you just want a job, right?
Yeah, after 1983, all I wanted was to get a contract for 1984.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it was never on the radar, Rob. This award started in 1978. The first winner was my broadcast hero, Mel Allen, along with Red Barber, but I never gave it a thought. And then when I got on the ballot, I said, that's nice. The second time, a little more hopeful. The third time, the phone didn't ring, and the fourth time was the charm. So I think when you're on the ballot like that, it puts it in your mind a little bit more, but you still never expect to win. I mean, there were so many great candidates on the ballot, including network broadcasters, and there are a ton of us all together. The vote is never announced. I still don't know what the vote was, and probably never will. Maybe next year, if I have a vote, I'll know what that vote is. But
there's I know that you've talked to so many, been a mentor to so many people. But it's now you can say, hey, this is Hall of Famer. It's like with the Tampa Bay Rays talk about pitching, Joe. People listen a little bit harder, right?
Yeah.
So now that it's Hall of Fame Joe, it's like, okay, tell us the secret behind broadcasting.
Well, I'm not inducted into the Hall of Fame.
I know,
it's a Frick Award, and I signed Frick Award HOF.
Yeah.
Rather than Hall of Famer, because that's for the players and the managers. But I think it's gratifying when, especially your peers, look at you that way.
So when you go back and you say, I love power rankings, right? Give me some of the things that you think were the most important to get to be what you became.
Well, to be in the Hall of Fame, I think it's longevity.
Yeah.
I think it's big moments, and you can't control that. But I've been blessed to be here for 4 World Championships in 15 years.
Your longevity because you're good, though.
And longevity helps you get a better Trendex and the better recognition factor because you've been around longer. But I think big moments and being with a good franchise, signature franchise, and those type of things really make it possible. I mean, if I were with a 6th place team like I was before I got here, it would be harder to be noticed. Some of those guys are in because they were great broadcasters, but it's a lot easier when your team is winning and you're in the spotlight, and especially when you have the cloud of Red Sox Nation. I think that's critical. Yeah,
well, a lot of people get behind you. Obviously, your heroes are so many. When did you, this is going even further back, when did you realize that you wanted to be a broadcaster?
As soon as I knew I wasn't good enough to play.
Really?
And as Ernie Harwell likes to say, I wanted to be a player in the worst way, and that's exactly how I played. But, I think I realized about age 10 or 11 that I wasn't going to be a player. And Mel Allen was my hero. I hate to admit it, but I was a big Yankee fan in those days, being from New Haven. And I think I set my sights on that, and I practiced in the backyard doing play-by-play, my own fungo games, and people thought I was crazy, but and I tried it.
But you were laser focused, like that's
yes.
You knew that's what you wanted to do.
I did. One of the nicest compliments I had when I went to my 50-year reunion at Colgate, one of my classmates said, "You're the guy who's doing exactly what he said he wanted to do."
That's awesome.
And I realized, wow, that's really a blessing.
That is such a good thing. That is like one of the best compliments you can get.
It is, because, the focus was there. What would I have done if I hadn't made it? I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't know. And, one of the greatest realizations I had was maybe 10 or 15 years ago when I came to the conclusion that, hey, I don't have to do anything else. I don't have to sell insurance or any kind of job.
It wasn't until
like
then
that.
You're like, oh, man, I'm going to be able to do this until.
Don't take this away. I love this. And when you come to that realization, I think you realize you have it on easy street. You have to work at it. It's been a lot of fun, but I've had a lot of people that helped me.
Yeah. Well, so I'm going to ask you about baseball. So this is a question that I love asking players. We actually, Commissioner of Baseball asked him, the first time you walked into a ballpark, and everyone's experience is different, but there are constant themes, and I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but one of them is you walk into Fenway, the green's never greener, the white's never whiter. Do you remember when you walked into a major league park for the first time?
Yeah, the first time I walked into a park, I think I was 6, and it was Jerry Coleman Day at Yankee Stadium. He was just back from Korea, and he became my first baseball hero. And I told him that in later years because he's a Ford Frick winner as well. Over 40 years in the San Diego Padres booth before he passed away. And He says, I never should have played that day. I weighed 130 pounds. I went over 4 and made an error, but Casey Stengel made me play. And he was a wonderful guy. But I do remember the aura of Yankee Stadium with the triple deck and the facade. And I remember my first time at Fenway. It was at the end of the summer before my senior year in college. Stood in the bleachers. They actually had benches there in the bleachers, and to see the wall for the first time, I think, was really what was so remarkable and really breathtaking to see the green.
That is so awesome. So when another baseball question I love talking about is you get a chance to sit here and watch games in person, and I think even before the pitch clock, going to a baseball game is the best sport to go to. You've done, as we know, you've done basketball because you've had Johnny Most put a cigarette on your pants or something. Right? but going to a baseball game is the best.
I think so.
Yeah.
Because it's outside, and you're never really going to see a good game or not. There are certainly not all good games, but you always have a chance to see something you never saw before.
Yeah.
I mean, who thought on April 29th, 1986, with the media at the Garden for the Celtics playoff game against Atlanta and 44 degrees and misting, that you'd see a 20 strikeout game for the first time in history? You just never know, and that adds to the excitement of it. Plus, I consider myself a baseball historian, and I love to compare things. I love to watch players and see how far they're going to go, and even if your team is out of it.
Well, it's personality. Like this, that's one other thing that's great about you. You have great relationships with so many guys, and you've obviously throughout the years, but even the time that I've been with you, I just love how when a guy does well, like you feel it, right? This is
I do, yeah.
You're because you're a human
Yeah.
being, you're a good person, and you see the good in other people.
Well, I think that's a big part of it, and we all have our favorites.
Yeah.
And people better than others. That's a great thing about baseball. There are 25, and now 26 players and personalities, and obviously you gravitate to some more than others, or you just, by happenstance, you get closer to some more than others. But many of them become lifetime friends, and several of them telling me they're going to be in Cooperstown. So I'm very excited about that, and that could bring emotions out.
Oh, well, I told you what one of the captains of Team Joe's doing. Rich Hill. You know what he's doing?
Well, he's bringing his wife and son.
Well, he's driving up and back all in one day.
Yes, he is. That's oven beyond the call.
I mean, no, but
Yeah.
you have a lot of people. It's a testament to and I think that it was so great to have you, Rich, in the booth and with you.
Oh,
and,
yeah,
right?
spring training.
Spring training.
He's got a future there. Maybe he'll help us on the mound before the season's over.
Well, I told him he's going to throw out first pitch here, then he's going to sign a contract and then do a broadcast. He can do it all. But it's another part about it is when people talk about you, it's not only baseball. Your voice is ingrained, and I'm not asking you to this is just the fact, is ingrained in their life, is ingrained in their how they grew up. I know for me, Joe, it was sitting up in my parents' cabin because we didn't have, in Freeport, Maine, we didn't have a TV. We listened to the Red Sox game, staring at the ceiling. Those voices were always ingrained in me, and for everybody who follows the Red Sox, that's it. Your voice is ingrained in them.
Well, it's a blessing. When I first came here, I got ripped for not having the huge pipes.
Really.
But we all have our own styles, and it's a matter of getting used to. And I think it's the passion more than anything. That's more important than having the big boomer. And the credibility. You need the trust of
Well, I think it's
New
being.
England
I
fans.
think Joe, and anybody who says leans on voice inflection or what pipes, but it's being genuine.
Yeah,
that's it.
You're right.
I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, your fan base has to trust you and have confidence in you, and that's why when somebody makes an error, you say you don't cover up for things. But you let them make their own judgments too.
I just want to say also, I want to point out your family. It's not only obviously we talking about your greatness and how much you've meant, but getting to know your family and having your family around, and it's not an easy job, right?
It's not, and that's why Jan gets so much credit. Taking care of the house, raising 3 great kids, now 6 grandchildren. She's done a lot on her own without many relatives helping her because she's in Ohio. They're from Ohio, and it's been just a blessing. And she gave up her career. She did go back to teach for a while, but pretty much sacrificed it for me and my career. And there were some uncertain times along the way in terms of job security, but it's all worked out thanks to many blessings.
Well, seeing you down with your grandkids, whether it's in the booth or in the field, that's the coolest. Like that's the best.
They never want me to leave. They love the perks.
I believe the ice cream machine. Are you kidding me?
Oh yeah, that's a staple.
Joe, again, I just want to thank you for everything, and of all my life's honors, it's right up there. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Rob, and hope we can do many more broadcasts together because I always learn something from you. You got the pulse of the team right down there, Pat.
Thanks, Joe.